Hey everyone, it's Abrix here, and we're going to be looking at my LEGO UMP-45. I know I've been gone for a while, but I'm actually really proud of how this weapon turned out. I was done with this like 5 months ago, and again, I'm really proud of how it turned out just because I was able to implement a lot of different building techniques, which helped me with the representation of the actual UMP-45, and it really worked out just to make it as accurate as I possibly could. Of course, I didn't get it really perfect, but I was able to get most of the accuracy into it. So one of the first features I really like to start off with is a trigger mechanism. It is working, it is functional, it does reset with a rubber band inside of the lower receiver, or this section here. And I use that same design as I used on my PP Bazan, which was a video from a while back. If you want to go check that out, you can. Really interesting. I really like the feel of it. It really looks just like a real trigger. Unfortunately, it's really hard to make just because the design is very weak and it's just hard to get it perfect and working. And so far it hasn't broken on me, so that's a really good plus. You can see here the trigger guard is the same as my MP5, and you'll see a lot of similarities in this weapon and with the UMP5, just because in real life the creator of this weapon and the MP5 is Heckler & Koch. That's the company that made both of these weapons, and again, I mean, they have the same MP5 vibe. So yeah, that trigger guard design is from my MP5, which is fairly weak. It does break a lot. Like, it breaks every single time I hold it up, so I really don't like that. I kind of want to improve on it. Here's the grip. I really like how I made the grip just because of the way I was able to make it with like the limit space I wanted to make it, if that makes sense. I really wanted to go with that 3-stud wide grip, and I was able to do that. And I was able to implement these different building techniques just to add these 2x2 slopes, which are my favorite pieces in the back. I use a bunch of these bracket pieces just to make that possible, and I have cheese wedges in the front here. It is quite a comfortable grip. The unfortunate part is that it does hurt your hand when after a while of holding onto the weapon, so eventually it will hurt your hand. It hurts like the palm of your hand, but it's not as bad. I mean, you can hold onto it for like quite a few minutes until it actually ends up hurting your hand. But again, it's comfortable. It does have that same angle as almost all my weapons. It does hold up the weapon weight, which is really cool. It does break here and there, but not as much as the actual trigger guard. You can see here I was able to implement the magazine release, which is 3 studs wide. I really like how this turned out just because it's fairly sturdy for the amount of uses that it can take, which is pretty cool. Here's the lower receiver part, including the magwell, which I will get into that in a little. Here's the fire selector, which this would be safety and that would be fire. I know it's not as accurate as the actual weapon, but I couldn't really do that just because of the way I wanted to build the weapon and get the shapes of it. But yeah, it is ambidextrous, so you can't switch it from both sides. It has the same design on the other side. Most of this weapon is just symmetrical, just here and there that's different from the left side to the right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And now to the next feature, which is the actual magazine release and the magazine. Here's the macro, which is 5 studs wide, and it blends with the 5-stud wide upper receiver, which is right here. It does have a bit of detail here, which is symmetrical to the other side. I did add a bunch of these slow pieces to add that for that extra comfort when holding it like this, which is really nice. Here's the magazine, and you can see here that it does release when pulling onto that mag release, which is really cool. It does lock onto place. The magazine is pretty simple, except for the fact that it is 3 studs wide, and this is a very big deal in the LEGO gun community because it's quite hard to make a 3-stud wide magazine for the weapon, which I was able to do here. I added these glass pieces just to show you if it did have the 9mm bullets in the actual magazine, but I didn't have yellow pieces, so I really couldn't do that. You could see here that it does lock into place, which is really cool. Next thing is probably the foregrip, and this is really cool because I added such a good technique that added to that roundness, and it just makes it really comfortable. So most of this weapon is pretty comfortable. I really like that, and I use this upside down building technique, you could see there, and it just fits with the rest of the weapon, and it's like really good. And hopefully I might just leak the building technique I use for it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It does have this extra part right here, which includes the sling mounts right here on both sides, and that's just the part so when you shoot from the recoil, your hand doesn't slip in front of the barrel and just shoot your hand off. So yeah, that's not as important. You can see here on the upper receiver, this is 5 studs wide, so it's 3 studs wide, 4 studs wide, 5 and 4. This 5 stud wide part does include the actual bolt mechanism, which is on the other side, which I'll show you in a minute. And there's these 2 indents, which is pretty cool. That's on the actual weapon. I was trying to go for that same look. Here's these like vents, these parts right here, and the foregrip is 5 studs wide, so that's pretty cool. You can see here's a bunch of these like different details all over. Not a lot of details. Let me just take the magazine off here because I don't have a lot of space to move. On the other side, I do have this bolt, the actual bolt. Most of the weapon is actually black. The color scheme for this whole weapon is actually all black, which is pretty cool. Looks real. I mean, I don't really recommend taking this outside at all because it does look real from a distance. Here's the bolt. I'll show you the charging handle in a bit. Really simple. Here's a brass deflector, I believe. I'm not really sure what this is. I don't know if, I doubt it's a dust cover, but it looks more of a brass deflector than an actual dust cover. You can see here's like the gas vents. Here's one rail system, just on one side. You could add it on the other, but I decided not to. There's another one on top, so in total there's 2 rail systems. Here's the stock, which is really simple. This doesn't have that folding part into it, so this doesn't fold. Unfortunately, the real weapon does fold, but on mine I wasn't able to add that because I'm still kind of like evolving into that, to like those like really complex mechanisms. You can see more like holes for like the sling mounts. A pretty comfortable stock. Doesn't break as easy as it looks. It's actually a lot more sturdier than it really looks. You can see here's a cheek rest, which is pretty comfortable. And going on to the sights, I really love the sights because I added one more building technique. You could see there. Really cool. The rear sight actually has one of these like hinge pieces upside down, and the front sight is the same as my MP5, and it just looks really cool. I really think the sights look really accurate. Next feature is probably the charging handle, which does go back, and the charging handle is separate from the actual bolt, so you can actually move the bolt without moving the charging handle. And the charging handle actually has an indent where it locks into place. You could just slam it down. There's quite a bit of friction inside of the weapon, so that's why the charging handle has a difficult time resetting itself. You can see there. And the actual charging handle part is very, very delicate, so it's just you have to pull it in a certain way so it won't break. You could hear the whole mechanism inside. Let me show you. So here's the bolt. You can see the rubber band. This also gets stuck, but if I pull the charging handle, you can see it does pull back, and the charging handle did break. But yeah, it's pretty cool. That has the same design as the actual MP5, so it's pretty cool. Next thing is probably the barrel. Pretty simple. Has that cool like gas vent design, which is really cool. That's pretty much it really for this weapon. I mean, kind of broke down throughout the video, but I really enjoy how it turned out. I mean, really impressive. I was able to make it almost life size. It's not accurately life size, but it really close to actual life size. So that's pretty much it. Let's see if I could bring back the magazine. And there's a bunch of pieces that just fell off completely. Let's see if I could get it. Yeah, I doubt it. Okay. Alright, so I'm back. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, pretty cool. If you guys do want more weapons, again, I'm back. I'm out of school, so I'm able to make a lot more weapons. So if you guys have some suggestions for me, please make sure to tell me. Let me know down in the comments. Now that I came back, I have gotten much more subscribers, and I really want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I never thought I would, honestly. I honestly didn't think I would get more than 100 or even 100. So I'm really thankful for you guys for the amount of support and all the good comments. I really like to take constructive comments. So yeah, and right now my video qualities might not be the best, like my commentary, because I'm just very nervous to come back, but I really hope I did good for this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this weapon. I really enjoyed it, definitely. And thank you again. Make sure you guys, give me some constructive feedback. Give me some suggestions of the next weapon I should make. And I'm out.